Hi, so we are going to talk about the coronavirus, and I had spoken previously about it, and it's officially hit South Africa. And yesterday a lot of telephone calls, a lot of interacting with a lot of people, and over the last 2 3 days as well, since I put the first one out, a lot of people have been asking me questions. So, these were just some of the questions, and some of the discussions that took place in that. I always say the same thing. We can sometimes see the problem before it arises. Most people choose to ignore the problem, and when it hits them, then they hit a panic stage. So officially now, they're saying it's one case, but once again, let's just go back. Let's look what's happening all over the world. Once that one starts, we're going to start seeing so many more. And once again, the question that always comes up, because I deal in the business world, is that everyone says calm, but what is my financial damages going to be? Individual people also asking me, what is this financially going to hurt me? How is this going to turn out at the end of the day? People say, don't worry, don't panic. If I have no food to pay my bills, I automatically panic. If I have no money to put food on the table, I automatically panic. If I see that my business is going to fail due to what's happening, I'm going to panic. If my job is going to be taken away from me, or I'm going to be retrenched, I panic. And these are very, fair questions and serious questions. And I always try to answer as best as what I possibly can. I'm getting so many people asking me and questions, and I just can't get to everybody. So that's why we do these clips, to try and reach as many people as possible, try to help as many people as possible. We will never even get it right between one clip, but let's just look what is happening around us at the moment. So I always say, if you want to see what's happening, look what's happening in other countries and see how that is going to affect you. Are businesses in trouble? Yes, they are. How does that affect you? What are you going to do? Are you financially, are you living from paycheck to paycheck? How is that going to affect you? So you need to look at this. One of the biggest questions and topics that came out, I spoke, speaking to some people, they said, but if I'm infected, I would never tell anybody. And the reason is, I would never want to put a fear in the business that I work in, because I don't want to lose business. The other ones say, I can't afford to go home. And that becomes a very, very big concern, because people will eventually not want to mention anything due to the fact that what the financial implication will be. And that has a big concern. So, I know that it's a very difficult one. And, I know that, everyone starts to worry about themselves and not the next person. And eventually, that is how we actually start creating a lot of problems within our country, in the world. And, I understand financially, so many people are living from paycheck to paycheck. So many businesses are barely making it. Don't panic. There are people, I was in conversations with company that's in the manufacturing. They're sitting with so much stock, missing certain components to put this product together to deliver. Can't get the products from overseas. Now they can't complete these products, which means now they can't do the sales. They can't actually put out the stock, and they can't complete these projects, which means they are paying salaries. They can't do the sales. So now it creates a panic, and every day that goes by, it's a backlog. And eventually they're so concerned that eventually orders will get cancelled. So eventually, what are you going to start doing? You're going to start actually then going to shorter days for people to work, which eventually it does have an effect. It does have a financial implication. So, what I'm trying to do at the end of the day is tell people, look ahead, make plans, prepare. Yesterday I was watching, the one hashtag that was like going all over the world and so popular was toilet paper. I was watching this with people buying toilet paper. It was unbelievable. A question that has come through, and it's happening abroad, and that they say that condoms are being sold out. We had started, creating awareness over HIV and be careful, safe sex, and all of this. What happens if that now becomes a problem and people don't have access to condoms? What is that going to then do to that problem? Other questions was people are saying medication. They say, what happens if you don't get your medication next month because there are shortages? These are all questions that you need to ask yourself and see how you're going to prepare yourself, that you do not get affected as much as you possibly can. There are so many people that I've spoken to that have paid money to go on trips and are sitting now that they can't go. What happens to those people's monies? So there's so many things that are happening, and we need to look at what's happening across, on the other side all over the world, and we can actually then get some sort of an idea what we can expect. We know that, a question that came to me yesterday was, I travel every day in a taxi, so I'm constantly with people in a taxi. How do I protect myself? It's my only form of transport. These are the type of questions. I'm a cashier, so I work with thousands of people, taking money, talking to people. How do I handle that? So it's all about educating. You need to go back to your businesses. You need to ask your employers, what should we be doing to help us through these stages? Business owners need to start having answers. I mean, we saw yesterday Amazon saying to certain of their staff that they need to start working from home, Microsoft. So a lot of companies are already doing these things. So as a business owner, you need to start investigating, understanding these things. As an employee, I understand a lot of people work according to paycheck, and you need to understand it. I mean, and I've said it previously, if you've got certain commitments to making payments, maybe you need to go back to those institutions and say to them, listen, I need to obviously put some money aside. I need to maybe buy medication and stock up because I don't know what's going to happen. You need to ask your medical aids, because certain medical aids pay for medication on a monthly basis. What will happen, for next month? These are questions that you need to be asking. Question has been asking, we have parents living with us, and this is more dangerous for elder people. What happens if our kids get sick? What is the implication to our parents? They say you need to quarantine within your house. Not everybody has that luxury, that they can just make a section of their house, to quarantine a certain person, not to be infected. So you need to be asking these questions. You need to be educating yourself. And we see these problems long in advance. We choose to ignore them, and when they hit us, then we hit a panic stage. Now, it is a bad thing. It is a very hard sore, and I feel so sorry for so many people out there, and I feel so sorry for a lot of businesses that are barely making it before this has actually hit. And I've spoken to some business people, which I know, they're saying to me, Kyriakos, we will not make it. I mean, we've just been barely making it. And these are things you need to go to your banks. You need to ask your banks how they can help you. You need to be putting yourself out there, asking questions. Don't wait. The other countries have understood what they need to do to help people. So I'm sure that we will also be going down that road. We need to be asking questions. If it doesn't affect us, great. But what happens if it does affect us? Why do you want to be the one person that is actually at the end of the day asking the question, why did this happen to me? I mean, we need to be concerned about medications. We need to be concerned about, businesses. We need to be concerned about our travelings. We need to be asking questions so that we have answers for that. And I'm not going to say it's a nice thing, but the advantage that we have is that we have so many countries that are already going through this and already are working on these type of problems. So we need to listen. People say don't panic. And I know that with a lot of the people that I've been talking to say it's a very easy thing to say, they're not in my situation. They're not in my financial situation. If you can't feed your family, if you can't pay the bills, how can you not panic? And that is very true at the end of the day. So what I am saying is you need to be asking the questions. What can I do? Try to work on the problem. There's always a solution to every single problem. If you choose to ignore the problem, it's going to bite you at the end of the day, and then you're going to ask, why did this happen to me? There are so many unanswered questions. I was talking to a business yesterday that they actually work with vehicles, and they say, they'll invest 20,000 or 30,000 into repairing a vehicle, and because they can't get a part, they can't complete the job. Now they can't get paid, so their cash flows are starting now to, be affected. There are so many of these stories that I can tell you, and but what I am saying is go and communicate. Talk to your banks, talk to your insurance companies. Find out how does if you got income protector, how does it affect you if you get sick? Will it pay you out eventually while you're at home? Will you be able to cover your bills? Be careful on investing in holidays and stuff like that, because it's going to come to a time that the guys are going to be struggling to be able to deliver those type of services. We're seeing, like in Italy, schools are closing, public gatherings are now becoming a problem. So, we're on that trend, and we can't say it's not going to happen to us, because it's happened to everybody in the world. Most of the countries it's happening to. So it's a reality. We can't say it's not going to happen to us. It's just a question of when it's going to happen to us. So you need to go and work out your financial situation. You need to go and see if you are making commitments. How can you get yourself in a position to save a little bit of money, that you can maybe stock up a little bit on medications, on groceries, on your fuel. If you're doing on, buying electricities and you're buying water, get yourself into that. We need to be asking those questions. We need to be trying to find answers, and at the end of the day, the problem, and everybody says the same thing, that we don't have all the information. If we've got one person, it's just a question of time. We saw what happened in the United States. It started with one, and it's just skyrocketed. Italy, same thing. It skyrockets. So it is going to happen. It's just a question of when. What are you doing to prepare yourself? What are you doing to make sure that you are not one of those people? You need to have answers. If you have old people living with you, how are you going to handle that? You need to have answers on the medications for the old people as well. You need to have answers. Do you have money when you need to go to the doctors? You need to have answers. What are you going to be doing later on if you've got sports games for your kids that maybe might be taking place in a month or two, and the people are asking you to pay money? What do you want to do? And what happens if eventually it does affect that you don't want to go to public gatherings? The answers are all out there. You just need to go and look what's happening to other countries. You need to listen to what's happening to business people, how it's affected them. You need to go and listen to how it's affected salary people. So you don't have to believe a person that says to you, don't worry. You need to go and investigate it. You need to find out how it's going to affect you, because we see the signs and we can prepare ourselves as best as what we possibly can prepare ourselves. Will it affect us? Of course it's going to affect us. The question is, how badly will it affect us? And a person might say, it'll never affect me. Let me tell you something. Prices of stuff will go up. I was listening yesterday, hand sanitizers, how expensive they are starting to become on certain platforms, your Amazons. Things are starting to get expensive, because you also, business people are realizing they're going to run out of stock, so they might as well push up the prices to whatever price they need to push them up to, because they're still going to get sold. So you might not get sick. You might still have a job. You might still have a turnover. Will it affect you? Of course it's going to affect you. Somewhere it will affect you. You need to go and figure out how it's going to affect you and what are you planning to do about it, because it is here. It is going to affect us, and the question is, how badly is it going to affect you? So I know, and it's one of the questions that a lot of, in the topics that I've been having with people, what happens, if I am barely making it right now? You need to talk to your banks. You need to talk to people that you owe money to. You need to start communicating so that you understand what your true position is. And, it is selfish when I hear people saying to me is that if I've got it, I'm not going to tell anybody because I can't afford to lose my job. I can't afford to stay home. I can't afford to chase my customers away. And that, at the end of the day, creates a bigger problem than what we really have out there. So I'm wishing everyone good luck. I will try to talk more about this. And I am getting so many people asking me. I mean, I go to put in fuel, people ask me, because people see me, putting out all these social medias. So I go to the supermarkets, people ask me, people phone me, people, business guys. So I am getting so many inquiries saying to me, Kyriako, what is it? And I say the same thing. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's see where somebody is in the same position as you and see what it is. Will it affect you? Of course it's going to affect you. The question is, how badly is it going to affect you? You need to go and ask yourself that. And you shouldn't be listening to people that don't understand your situation. You need to be investigating so that you can find the answer. I wish each and every one of you good luck. And I pray for each and every one of you. And I believe that, there's always an answer to every single problem, and we have to be strong. And I feel so sorry for so many people. Some of the stories I've heard over the last couple of days, people telling me what their positions are. And, I don't only address this to business people. I am a business guy and I do deal with business people. But I do feel for people that make those business people who they are today. Because a business is as strong as the people around them. You didn't get to where you are without those people. God bless everybody. And I will try to put out as much as, please send me your comments, ask me your questions, and share this. If it can help people, please share this video, and I will keep on trying to put out there. And God bless everybody. Thank you.